So officially, I would like to say, first of all, Assalamualaikum and a very good evening.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
So,
wabarakatuh.
yeah, today we are with Mr. Iman or Hizam, our Insta Hero interview, and we are going to ask him a few questions. And me, I'm Nash, and together with me today is Yusrina. Okay. So Nana, shall we begin?
Yes, let's just get straight away into this interview. So are you ready, Mr. Iman?
All right, I am ready.
All right, very good then. Go ahead, Nash.
Okay, so just a warm-up session. How do you think you are doing now? The PKP since Ramadan, since your second year of Ramadan in PKP. How do you think about it?
What I think is, firstly, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for wanting to interview me. Well, I get back to the question. The answer for me would be better. So last Ramadan during PKP 1.0, what people can say is that there was no opportunity to even go for bazaar Ramadan, no opportunity to go for prayers in the mosque or even surau. So for me, that's the biggest difference is in how we execute our fasting practices during this time of around. From this time around, the Ramadan for me is a bit more able to have more social interaction, physical interaction with people.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But it is the same here in Kelantan because we are still now on PKP here.
Yeah. Oh, so Nash is streaming from Kelantan. Okay, understood.
Yeah. Yeah,
All right.
Nana, go ahead.
Next, can you tell us a bit about yourself? Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your family?
The family, is it?
You and your family.
Okay. So my name, as per my birth certificate as well as my identification card, is Muhammad Iman bin Nur Hizam. People usually know me as Iman Nur Hizam. So Nur Hizam is my father's name. You can call me Iman.
Yeah.
I am currently this year, inshallah, I'll be 23 years of age, and I am currently pursuing my studies in the law school of UiTM Shah Alam. I'm in my third year. So inshallah, after finishing this year, I'll have another year. So I hope to finish my law school and be graduating by the following next year, and the following year. So in 2023, inshallah. I am active in a few things outside of my law school. I am involved in student activism, and I have a family of 6 people, my parents and 4 siblings including me. I'm the second child and the only son in the family.
Wow.
Wow, that's very interesting to know.
Okay. Speaking about your involvement in your university, you said that you are in like student activities, student activism, like and volunteerism, of course, kan? And I think that you must have like some sort of leadership skill. So when do you think that you start developing your leadership skills?
Thank you for that question. After pondering for quite a while and looking back at my roots, basically, so what I can say is it isn't a matter of just a spark that ignited my talent or my credibility in leadership, but it's a series of events. It's a series of things that happen in my life. So what I can say is, looking back at my history, I was a prefect when I was in primary school. So it could be said that that played a bit of a role in my life. So I started probably during my prefect years. put something in me. It played a small part probably. But what I can say, the biggest part that affected me to become the person I am today is when I was in my secondary school, in my Form 4 and Form 5. So in that school, a lot of things played a role in shaping who I am today. So should I get into that now, or you have a follow-up question for that?
I think we will slowly going.
Yeah. I
Thank
mean,
you.
well,
Yeah.
for your answer, that answer, I would definitely say, yep, I agree with that, because that's why I called you today anyway. I've seen your leadership skills during your Form 4 for 5 years in MRSM. It was really good.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Really appreciate the compliment.
Okay, so do you think your parents' parenting style might have sparked leadership skills in you while growing up?
Yes, definitely, because I have a principle, and I hold on to the teachings of Islam. Exactly, is that children, once they were born, they are such as a white cloth. That means it's up to the parents to shape who their children become. So it may
Yeah.
not be a major role, but my parents definitely had a role in shaping who I am as well. Maybe not directly, but probably indirectly or implicitly, such as the values of being holding on to principles, having integrity in whatever you do, doing things the best you can. So for me, those values played a big role in growing up.
Yeah.
Well, quite relatable,
Can you
since
hear me?
you said you are the only son, so maybe your parents have been teaching you how to be mom and stuff like that, since you're the only son, right? You're the only next leader after your dad. Yeah.
Yeah, the head of the family, yes, head of the house.
Yeah.
Since my childhood days, my father would always say that, dimainkan abang.
Mm.
So yeah,
So
definitely.
you are the one who are looking for your siblings, your adik-adik.
Well, it's a collective effort, I guess, but you could say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going on to the next question, how do you think being in MRSM, like you said in your Form 4 and Form 5, I believe you are there in MRSM Parit, right?
Yes, I was there.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think being there improve your leadership skills?
All right, thank you for that question. Being there, you have to understand the ecosystem of MRSM itself. So MRSM is a place that actually brings a lot of types of people together. So it's not just people who are probably B40, but also gathers around people from the M40 segment as well as the T20. So when I say M40, T20, B40, this is if you know, the identification of people with their wages. So the
Wages, yeah.
ecosystem of medicine doesn't necessarily mean it's for the poor. During my days during my days and Yusrina's days, back then it was like that. Now after PH, it changed the policy to making sure probably 90% was poor people to enter MSN. So back in our times, it was a combination of all parts. Maybe the B40 students were more than other segments lah. So for me, that played a big role in knowing,
B40.
yes, networking. So you know a lot of people from different backgrounds, from the poor, from the needy, until you have the richest people in Malaysia and whatnot. So you have that level of connection, and you know how to go into the depths of their lives. You can learn something new from throughout the whole spectrum of people. That's the first. And secondly, MRSM has its own ecosystem in administration of the whole campus, or people can say college, maktab. And so it is an ecosystem by itself. If it has a national level program, it is a national level between MRSMs, between these specific colleges with each other. So the second key point is that it has its own ecosystem that you can learn and adapt with. So by that being said, it has its own programs, leadership programs. So what is very wonderful about it, it has a student representative council as well as other bodies of leadership in that institution itself. So just to name a few, there is the student representative council, which is in Malay, it's Badan Wakil Pelajar. And then we have the LDP, Lembaga Disiplin Pelajar. We can translate that, I guess. And then we have
committee.
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah. And then we have BADA, Bada Dakwah dan Rohani, which is the spiritual side for the students. So these three things plays a big role in the leadership of a student in that institution itself, in MRSM. So yes, I guess because of its importance in putting student leadership, it also has programs that's called global leadership. So I was given the opportunity to join global leadership back in my time, which had an intensive
impact.
5-day week. Yes, intensive impact, but 5-day program if I'm not mistaken. It was a camp in Pulau Pinang. That my batch were of leaders from around Malaysia, from around MRSM, had to go to camps for 5 days if I'm not mistaken, for us to develop our leadership skills and to be chosen. So it was actually partially a workshop and partially it was a competition. So whoever succeeded or excelled, they would have got the opportunity to go on to the next stage, which would have the opportunity to go to Harvard or Oxford, something like that.
Oh,
Wow.
it's very amazing.
So that was
such
that
a
is
big opportunity. Yeah.
Definitely. So MRSM has that level of prestige programs and prestige methods that help to develop students as well.
Okay, as you mentioned that in the MRSM they have like student community council, LDP, MPP, BADAR, and everything. Are you one of them? Like, are you in any of the committee or in the bodies?
Alhamdulillah, I was given the opportunity during my days. So I entered during my Form 4. So during that time, there was an election. So the system for Student Representative Council, as the name says, is the representative. Therefore, you have to be elected. You cannot be appointed to that position. So the name says it. There was the election when I was Form 4. So it was executed during that time and I competed. That was my first time ever in any election. So it was, I can say it was a matter of luck or probably fate, because the reason why I took the form, you had to pay for the form to enter the election.
It was 25 ringgit or something. I can't remember.
Oh, no, it's not that expensive, right? I can't really remember, but I think it's
my
below
time was
10.
25 ringgit.
Eh?
Something like that. I couldn't remember. But yeah.
I guess that's because of the supply and demand. I guess because during your batch, to
Economics, eh? We are going into economics now, supply and demand.
yes, because during Yusrina's time, they had a lot of leaders. Yusrina herself is a very good leader. So maybe a lot of competing leaders.
I'm flattered here.
Yeah.
So during that time, it was actually quickly set as a fate, because I was in the teachers room, as in the teachers office, where all the teachers are, and I didn't have any intention, or I didn't even intend to take the form. The form was open. I didn't have any intention. So I am a person that really likes to talk to teachers. So I'm very close. I'm a very what people say as extrovert person. Like to talk to teachers, get close to people, talk to people. So I was just in the teachers' room. I was helping a few teachers, if I'm not mistaken. So I was helping teachers out. And then somehow or other, this one teacher called me. She wasn't my history teacher back then. She was the history teacher. She was a very friendly teacher. Everyone loved her. She was part of the leadership advisors for the leadership in the school back then. So she called me up with my friend beside me. She said, because there isn't any guys that have applied yet.
Oh.
Okay.
So she said, okay, both of you take the form tomorrow. You give me the money for the entrance fee. So it's like, oh, okay. And then when we looked at the requirements, Alhamdulillah, I passed all requirements. My pointers was okay. Things and whatnot. I didn't have a bad reputation. I didn't have a case pending or anything. So everything was okay. So that started it all in my time as a student representative council. So I went into elections, competed, and then there was a special interview to become the president. A few of us went for the interview. Alhamdulillah, the principal then chose me as the principal. So that's how I became the president of the Student Representative Council of Taman Tarik in 2014, 2015.
Oh, I remembered voted for you.
Okay.
So yeah,
Thank you so much.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
I remembered that.
You have one of your followers here. So yeah. So
Thank you so much,
since
Regina.
Most welcome.
since you mentioned about your teacher said that back then there was not yet boys or a male student that signed in for the form. So I would like to skip a bit to question number 12. Okay. What is your perception on women taking up the role of a leader? What do you think about women being a leader?
All right, thank you. This is a very interesting question. As you may know already,
Yeah.
majority of the people in my family are women. My mom and all three of my sisters. So growing up, I've always lived a life where there is not really a sense of discrimination or a sense where woman is inferior in some way, because my mom has always been the one more active in leadership in her time. Maybe I got it from her. She was part of Mercy Malaysia, which is a NGO, if you know.
Yeah.
So when I was still in the womb, she was very active in Mercy Malaysia. She went out for volunteerism, for things here and there. And until now, she's very active in the Engineers Society of Malaysia, IEM, Institute of Engineers Malaysia, Women Engineers Malaysia. She's part of that wing, part of the Women Engineers Institute of Engineers Malaysia initiative. Many other things. So growing up seeing that, I don't see anything saying that women should not be leaders or women is inferior to men. So what I say is, it isn't actually based on gender, but it is based on your capabilities and what you want and what you can do as an individual. So in the sense of women now, we can actually see since a long time ago in universities, the acceptance level into universities has always been the woman, the female counterparts to be the majority. And
Yeah.
in the workforce as well, you can see women in top posts. Even our governor, our Bank Negara governor was a woman,
Zati
Zati
Akhtar
Akhtar
Aziz.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a matter of capability. It's not a matter of gender. Men can be emotional, women can be emotional. So it's a matter of how individuals cater to their weaknesses and strengths.
I'm loving your answer.
Okay. That is, yeah. It's not about gender, it's about your capabilities. That is a very good, very good quote
Very
from you.
good,
So I'm
very
gonna
wise.
highlight that part.
All
Yeah.
right,
So
we'll move
Nana,
on to the
our
next.
female counterpart here. Go on, Nana.
All right. Okay, Iman, you've been very active in promoting leadership in Instagram from what we see. So how does Instagram actually help you in being an amazing leader?
Well, I wouldn't define myself as amazing. Like, thank you for that compliment.
Most
Appreciate it a lot. But how Instagram I can see as a mechanism or as a tool, not only for me to use but for everyone. So Alhamdulillah, it is for me. It is a good tool for me to share what I'm doing, share my experiences, share my activities, because Alhamdulillah, as of today, I've been receiving a lot of responses from people saying that they are inspired, saying that they want to do what I'm doing, say that they gain motivation from what I post. So for me, it's something for me to share for the betterment of the people, for the country to be specific. Secondly, Instagram also has given opportunities to me, because when people see, people identify and know my capabilities. So from there, people would give me offers. So like, if you can see on my profile, I'm the ambassador for Lead Us Malaysia as well as the KLBC YLC. So Lead Us Malaysia is the initiative, is an NGO, it's a society that helps promote or boost entrepreneurship in young people, especially. They give help, give channels for them to find help or how to start up business, things like that. So they approached me because of my social media presence, as well as the KLBC, which is the KL Bar Council. So in law, you have a bar council that dictates or administers the whole profession in Malaysia. So that organization in KL specifically has the potential and give me the opportunity to become the ambassador as well. So that's the second point, which is it helps me to grow in person, to find more opportunities. So also as being featured in a few things and here. So things that I can share with the people to find motivation in, to what you can see as invite other people to do good things. Secondly, as an opportunity for me to grow. So those two things I see as something crucial.
It's like a medium for you.
Oh, so I think you have used your Instagram platform in a very good way, as you are now the ambassador for that program you just mentioned just now. And before this, you mentioned that your mother was in Engineers Society of Malaysia, right?
Yep.
Okay. So moving on to the next question. I would still like to ask, like, in what way does your family play a role in shaping your leadership skill? So how do you tell us about that?
Okay, well, as I said, my mother was very active in those things, volunteerism, societies, NGOs. I followed her a few times as well to a few of her programs under her university back then when I was still in school, helping the poor, helping the underprivileged, helping orang asli, all those things, Aborigine people. And then that's from my mom's side. Uh, from my father's side, he's uh, he's one of the rare people in Malaysia that is doing aerospace. He was a scholar. Both my parents were scholars. Both of them studied engineering in the UK. So my father specifically was in aerospace engineering. So he is one of the very few people in Malaysia to do aerospace engineering, and he was one of the people that was part of the project in making Malaysia's first satellite, Tiong Sat 1, and then also Razak Sat. So from there, his career went to a rise lah. So I can say is from my father, I can see a lot more on management, on managing things, on how he administers projects, on how he executes things, on how he leads his team, leads his employees, leads his staff members. So my father plays a role in that matter. Values. So, but the main thing that I got from my parents both are that the values that they hold, how they hold on to their principles, the things that they hold on to in life. So, as a general form, both my parents gave me values that I hold on to, while specifically my mom probably on the volunteering side, on the CSR side, while my father more on the management things. How do you organize a company?
I see. All right.
I see. Okay.
Right.
Razak side and Tiong side, right? Tiong side.
Yep.
Wow. That is such an
Yung
achievement.
one.
Yeah.
Interesting fact, isn't it?
Interesting. Very interesting.
All right, move on. Moving on to the next question. Well, despite being a full-time student, I mean, what keeps you motivated though in being a leader? Have you ever felt tired, exhausted, and wanted to give up? It's been very busy as a student.
Definitely. Yeah, continue.
No.
Please, please.
You were saying?
Oh, nothing. I was just questioning you. Can you hear?
Oh, okay. Questioning you. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for that question. Of course, the thought of wanting to give up or quit has often come to mind because of the fatigue, tiring moments, the challenges that you face. Definitely. In the same time, what actually made me start as the value or the principle that kept me going all these years is basically um, if I want to comment on some things, on certain things, if I want to say that I am not satisfied with things that is happening to my school, to my university, or even to my country as a whole, so I would like to say that I have to do it first. I have to make a change first. I have to try first. Then I have the right to comment. Because nowadays you can see a lot of people saying a lot of things, um, uh, that are negative, which says that these people are doing bad things here, you're not supposed to do this and that. But what are actually the solutions that a person gives? So that is my principle I hold on to is if I haven't tried to change that thing that I do not like, then I have no right to say. However, if I have tried my best to change something that I want it to become a better thing, then I have the right to comment as much as I can if I fail to do so.
Inspiring.
Oh, so it's like
Very
I hope
it's
you're.
like
inspiring.
it's like um if I were like to comment about like public transportation issues or everything, so me myself have to go into the roots of the problem first before I start commenting and everything. Do you agree on that?
Yes. Well, there comes the question of your capability and scope. It's not saying that you as a student you have to solve that problem tomorrow, but probably play your role as a student. You can probably do your research and then
Yeah.
send your suggestions to the government or the municipal council in your area and whatnot for the solution. So things like that.
Oh, okay. So we should like do things that in our own capabilities to tackle the issue lah before we just commenting and not doing anything like that.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Nash.
So I think that is a big commitment, but since you are also a full-time student and still studying, have you ever feel like do you like get support from your family in doing this and being like leadership things in joining the student activities and everything? Do you have your parents on your back in these matters?
Alhamdulillah, I've been very fortunate to have very supportive parents. I'm grateful for that. Although in the beginning they were a bit skeptical, they were a bit pessimistic about this. They were saying like, Iman, you shouldn't be focusing too much on this matter or on that matter. You should be focusing 100% on your studies and whatnot. So there was that matter in early days of my activism days. But then through time, I have to prove to them that I can cater both things. So Alhamdulillah, now they have I have their full support, and they're always supporting me in whatever I'm doing as of today. Alhamdulillah, because they see the
Alhamdulillah.
potential in it, and they see that I am I'm doing it just for the sake of hype, or just for the sake of temporary matters. So it's something that I really love and I really enjoy doing, and that I'm doing, alhamdulillah, and I hope I'm doing good in it to bring a greater impact to the nation.
I really believe that whatever you do, you definitely need your parents and your family support. In whatever you do, like what Iman is doing right now is definitely leadership activities and stuff like that. Very crucial. Very crucial to have supports from people around you, especially parents and family. All right. All right, Iman. Do you think being a good leader changes the way you see youngsters or people around you?
Being a good leader changes how I see people, is it?
Yeah.
Well, it's I can't say that I'm a good leader, but my own personal point of view, I've always had the thought of filling myself up with fruitful things that will bring benefit. So not many people our age have that thought in mind. A lot of people our age would have the thought of, I want to have fun, I want to enjoy as much as I can, as long as I can before I grow up and whatnot. So that perception for me is probably right to a certain extent. You can enjoy and you should enjoy, but everything has to has its limit and everything has to has its purpose. So because I see life as, I see youth as something of utmost importance, because you should use your youth to shape how you will become in the near future of your life. If you put in the work as much as you can and as much as you want now in your youth, then inshallah you'll achieve what you want. You can reap the soul that you've planted, reap the fruits of success in the future. So that's what I hold in life that maybe can be seen as something not aligned or not similar to other people our age. So I see that this is the time for you to truly work, do things that you need to do to achieve greater success in the future.
Yeah, because whatever happens now matters in the future.
Yes, definitely.
So, in another words, like for you, like this youthful days, your youth is like an investment, and you shall reap the returns in the future.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. And
Okay.
just a fun fact to share, since my childhood years, if you remember in school, the maybe preschool or elementary school, primary school probably, I'm not really sure. People always have the question where teachers ask, if you received $1 million, what would you do? So since I was, as long as I could remember, I've always answered the question in saying I would keep the money and use it for investments. Back then, I didn't have the idea of how do I invest money. I didn't know how, but I knew that I wanted to multiply that value. So I guess I can say that my brain has been wired differently, I guess, since I was born due to my parents. Right. Even also this is a fun fact as well. My father has always been the person that challenges me. Since I was young, he would always ask me questions for me to answer. For instance, we were sitting in a restaurant eating our food, and he sees a signboard, and then he would ask me, "Why is that signboard like that?" As a very young person, what would you answer? As a child, what would you answer, right?
Yeah.
So those type of things that my been training me since I was young. So question things, find the answers, find solutions. And what my father always says is that engineering is a matter of solving problems. So maybe due to my parents both being engineers, I'm inclined to always trying to find solutions to problems.
I think your parents' parenting style kind of promote this critical thinking of yours and foster it since you are little child. Really great. Okay.
So 11, please.
Hmm? Yes,
Number
next.
11, you can go.
Right. Being a young leader and
You can
getting
have it.
involved in various leadership programs, what drives you to constantly improve yourself?
Thank you so much. What constantly drives me to improve myself is the impact. Because as of now, I can say that I haven't really impacted the nation as much as I want to. The impact that I want is pivotal. Pivotal. I want to play a pivotal role in bringing a very huge impact and a positive one to the country. So I can say that I'm quite an environmentalist. So I really love nature. This is due to my mom as well. She really loves nature. So as long as I haven't reached my goals, and I have to say my goals are very big. I can honestly say, inshallah, I want to be the ninth Prime Minister of Malaysia. So that is one of my goals in life. So as long as I haven't achieved that goal, as long as I haven't achieved any of my goals, I will always have to change, not my principle, but change my methods, change on how I do things to better reach the impact that I want, to better give the impact that I want. So that's how I put myself to always improve, because if it's not working in how I do it now, or the method that I'm using now, I can probably find another way, another method that is more effective and efficient.
Okay.
So you have your designated goals and dreams, and then that's what pushes you to improve yourself, changing these methods, changing the styles of leading. Okay. Well, again, you never really put blame on someone or something whenever you did not achieve your goals. You always improving yourself. Really good.
Okay.
Inshallah.
Not much people have that. People
Inshallah.
usually
Yeah,
hate others.
not much people like nowadays, teenagers, youngsters, youth, not much people are really into leadership anymore. And in your opinion, um, what do you think? Why do you think teenagers nowadays are very lack of leadership skills and very lack of interest into being a leader? Why do you think that happen in our community, in our countries?
Oh, that is a big question to answer.
Yeah.
Well, from my point of view, um, as well as the things I've said earlier on in the interview, is that parents play a very big role in a child's life, in children. So if the values, not saying leadership values, but saying uh, strong, good, positive values is not inserted in a child since their early ages, since their early years, then it would not um, come to life when they grow up in the future. Because the reason why I became a leader, I want to become a leader per se, it's not because my parents told me to become a leader. It's not why my parents say that I have to become the leader to change things. No. But it's because of the values that they inserted in me. The values that they inserted to me was make yourself good. It is compulsory to make yourself good. Secondly, it is to help others become good. You have to help others. You can't force them, but you can help them and make sure that the world is clean and beautiful. This is also three mottos that I got from my primary school back then when I was still very young. So my parents also hold on to these principles. So these three things also played a role in shaping me in the future. So what I say is why youngsters nowadays wouldn't prefer to become leaders is because of the values in them. There's not much, or there's not really a lot of values in them that they probably hold on to say that I want to make change. I want to make Malaysia a better place. So that's the first thing, I guess. Of course, parents had a role to play, but the values is the main thing in them that could say why they're deteriorating. And secondly, is because of their own habits that is aligned with technology. So that I wouldn't want to blame it on technology, but nowadays people would always want to play games more. People would want to be Insta famous more. People would want to be influencers more. Even if you ask kids nowadays, if you ask them what do they want to become, they want to become YouTubers. That may not be negative, but how or what type of YouTubers do they become? Or is that the only thing that they see and that's why they want to become YouTubers? So two things play a role. That's the two things that I guess my point of view is why youngsters nowadays not really interested.
Well, I agree
Oh,
with you.
yeah. So it's like the first one is like the parents, the values set by the parents,
Mhm.
and then the youngster those values to become a leader, and the next one you said was the habit that align with the technologies that is somehow affected with how youngster behave nowadays, right?
All right,
Okay.
moving on.
I'm going to go to the next questions. When it comes to leading or when you're growing up, who is your idol that you have look up to be as a perfect leader, or maybe someone that you want to be in your future since you were a child?
That's a very good question indeed. If you agree, we all are around the same age. So when we were still studying in primary school, elementary school, secondary school, high school, and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
our syllabus was still very much related to Tun Dr. Mahathir.
Yeah.
So growing up, we have always been one of the people,
Looking
have
up to
always
him.
been the people saying Wawasan 2020.
Yes.
Yes, Wawasan 2020. Tahun 2020 will be the year of the century. So I have to say that because due to those circumstances, I've always looked at Dr. Mahathir as a very recommendable, impeccable icon or leader due to education itself. And I do agree to a certain extent. However, as the years goes by, how as I evolve in matters and whatnot, of course, really, the first answer that you should hold on to, that we all should have, is Rasulullah SAW. Definitely, because due to his teachings, due to his ways of life, which is Islam, Islam is here today. The change that I may bring may not last. Like, okay, Tun Dr. Mahathir himself, the changes that he brought, some of it has already died down. There are certain things that still lives on until today, but a few of things that still died in the years coming to what was in 2020. But Rasulullah SAW's teachings and way of life until today can be seen and lives amongst us, through us in our daily lives and practices. So that's definitely the best example that I have to hold on to. And maybe the second, third, and fourth, other leaders. So now I don't really have an idol or an icon that I aspire to become, but I have a person I look up to, and the answer is myself.
Yeah.
This is not to say to brag or not, but this is to say that in hard times, I want this to be said by everyone individually. Yusrina, the leader that you should look up to, other than Rasulullah SAW, should be yourself. Nash, to you as well. Because when you were in hard times, when you were in hardship, when you were in trouble, when you were in devastating, destructive, detrimental situations, who was there? Of course, Allah SWT and whatnot, betul? But who was there? The individual that is definitely there is yourself. You are the person that brings yourself up with, of course, other factors too, kan? You are the person that improves. You are the person that goes through your challenges. So I can say that I am the person I look up to.
Wow.
That's actually
I
very
hope that
relatable to my case because like Iman, if you wanted to know, back then when I was in my form 5, I had a very devastating moment where I was diagnosed with depression, severe, a very severe one. I need to take meds, and then I was also diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, where I was in a very, I mean, come on, my CGPAs were always so good, but then suddenly it dropped. It dropped to where I needed to be transferred to like homeschooling and stuff like that because I just couldn't get through it, but I was there battling the diseases, and this is where I am now talking to you about leadership. Very eventful, but yeah, relatable, very relatable.
Yeah.
We are the hero of ourselves, actually.
We are the hero of ourselves, actually. So, Nana,
All right.
continue.
Okay, so how do you think people see you after being a leader? Is there any difference of when you were not a leader and when you are a leader? Do you see differences in how people react to you, in how people respond to you?
Okay. Yes, definitely. What I see a leader per se is actually in how they are as a person. So you don't have to say to people that I am a leader, you should follow me. A leader should be a person that when someone sees or is close to or is nearby, they can sense the aura itself. So Alhamdulillah, I was granted that matter in my life. So that a lot of people validates me as a leader or has that strong values by themselves. I don't have to say anything that I'm a leader, I should be leading. No, I don't have to say that, and I'm let people see that for themselves. And secondly is that before I was like this, before I went on to challenge myself to become a leader or per se, this is per se. I'm not saying that I'm a good leader or whatnot. I'm just saying before I went into this route, when I was in Form 1 until Form 3, that was my years of, I guess, the time where I can say that those years was very negative. I was, Alhamdulillah, class Rancang Akas, so it's for students that excelled well in the academics in that class. In that class, people were intelligent and whatnot, but they were somehow negative because sometimes if you want to do good things, they would always say, why do you want to be so nice? That's such a negative thing. There's a Malay words behind all those things, so I'm just translating it into English. So like they always give negative impressions, negative feedbacks on if a person wants to do something good. So that was my years during until Form 3. So those years I still haven't had that aura of a leader or whatnot. So yes, the answer is definitely when you are not a leader by practice, or you're not a leader by your own values, definitely people would treat you differently. So those years I could say it was very negative and not a very good one in a moral sense. In academic senses or whatnot, that's a whole other story.
Pondering into that.
Okay. Yeah. As you mentioned, like people look into your values as a leader, to treat you as a leader. So my next question is, what is the most important value or values that you seek or look into other people as a leader? Or
Other people?
what value that you look into another leader, to other people?
Okay. What I would look for in other leaders is definitely their principles. What do they hold in life? That's the main thing, because with principles that you hold, that will affect the decisions that you make afterwards. So secondly is how do they organize or how do they execute how do they lead their team. So these two things that I look into on finding who to be a good leader. So back in my diploma years, I was the student representative council as well. I was the MPP, but I wasn't the number one in the campus. I wasn't the main person. I wasn't the president. So I had a
President
leader
or
on
the
top of me.
YDP.
I wasn't the YDP in my in my diploma years. I wasn't the YDP. I was MPP, but I wasn't the number one. I wasn't the boss, what people can say lah. So I had a superior above me,
Okay.
right? So Alhamdulillah, I can say that he was a very good leader, and that's why I followed him. His values were the best, and his organizational skills were also the best. And now, before we were actually competitors, we were rivals who would do better, whatnot on leadership stuff, because me and my friend, that specific friend, we were young prodigies per se in the campus. For my faculty, I was the youngest vice president in my faculty, and then he himself was the youngest vice president for his society. And then, so yeah, we were competing and who this and that, whatnot. And in the end, he got the position, and I was, I wouldn't say below, but I was his, I wasn't the number one, right? So when I looked into his values on how he organizes things, then I accept him as my leader, because those two things plays a very big role on how things are executed or implemented. So now I'm best friends with him, from rivals to best friends. So that's a very, yeah, how fate works.
A big leap. So principles and execution. Okay. Anna, I think for now we have no more official question that are scripted on us, but maybe Nana, you have any other question?
No, I basically have nothing to ask anymore because you answered everything very, very smoothly and positively. I mean,
Yeah, you fill us up with a lot of information today, Zed.
no,
And actually,
more.
I am quite very inspired with your words, and I really do wish that one day we sit on the same table and talk about things, because yeah, you are a very interesting person when it comes to this thing.
It's the end of the interview anyway. Nash, anything to say?
So yeah, I have nothing to say, but looking at your works, your things that you are doing, you are very inspiring. Although I did not know a lot about you, but now I know. So maybe I'll hit you up in the Instagram later, maybe, because I think you poke a lot of interest. So I think I need to do a follow up with you lah. Maybe,
Have
inshallah.
to.
Yeah.
Have to.
So yeah.
We'll be happy and delighted to wait for your Instagram message, DM, direct message.
Inshallah. And for now, we would like to thank you for your time, for your opportunities to be with us. It's like this is the blessing of Ramadan that I have never experienced. That now I experience you talking to me, talking to us, and sharing all of your opinions, all the matters, the values, and things that you are always looking up into. So it's like a big thing for us, and we would like to thank you from the very bottom of our heart.
Oh my God, thank you very much. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
We're very delighted
Thank
to
you
have
to you guys. Thank you so much to you guys. It's my honor actually. Thank you for inviting me to share what I can share. Very little knowledge that I have. Thank you so much. I'm the one who should be thankful to you guys.